Welcome to the Way We See It podcast.
where we talk about politics, social justice, and culture.
I'm Tati,
And I'm Ariana.
and we are your host of this podcast. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to episode 37. This is currently week 18, which is messing with my head, but we had that 1 week we were off. But welcome. Only 3 more episodes until season 2 is over. You're not gonna see us for like another 2 months because you know what? It's summertime. Pew pew. We outside. So, welcome back, everybody. If you're new, hi, welcome. Make sure you check us out on our socials on Instagram and Twitter at The Way We See It with the C, and check out our website. Link can be found on our Instagram and Twitter bios, where you can read each of our blogs, which has been a hot minute since we put on our blogs. Don't even want to talk about it. Our current events, resources, and citations, and more. And if you're checking out our YouTube channel right now, or if you haven't, don't forget to press the subscribe button. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And we're also on YouTube at The Way We See It if you want to check us out there for visuals. So, yeah, getting into this week's topic. That's like the hardest part for me in every episode to like
The intro. And we shortened it because we was like, we chatting too much. We got to save our breath for the rest.
No, literally, that's like a whole 3 minutes right there. I'm just like trying to just get it out the way. I feel the saliva in my mouth building up because I can't even swallow. I'm just trying to get to it. uh, but yeah, so this week's topic is what, Ariana?
Well, we're going to be talking about mental health in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. So if you didn't know, May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we just wanted to talk about it and share our experiences um, and yeah, just bring awareness and educate people that are listening. If you've been listening from the first episode, or you guys know that I'm studying to be a mental health counselor. I live and breathe this. This is what I do. This is like my passion.
I live and breathe this. No,
And
literally.
yeah, and today was like my last day of my internship where I was counseling high school students and some of their family members as well. And it was an amazing experience just to see people grow and being part of that growth. The reason why they grow was because of the support I gave them, and they were super grateful to have somebody that understands them and talk about things they never talked about. And just to be part of that, like somebody's like healing process, is just the most like rewarding feeling from ever, honestly.
I don't know
Yeah.
why I'm getting emotional for you. Like,
I was crying like when I ended my last session with one of my clients. I cried, and they cried with me over the phone, and it was a bittersweet moment. And I'm excited what the future has in store for me in the field. So yeah, and also like being able to provide counseling services is a rewarding feeling, but also being like I would like to, and I am being advocating for mental health and trying to like show people that mental health is just as important as physical health. Just like how you get hurt, you break an ankle, whatever, you go to the doctor. You're feeling in a bad mood, you take a day off, take a mental health day, just how you take a sick day off for work. Or if you notice that you've been feeling this a certain way for a certain amount of time, okay, maybe I should seek professional help and all that. And yeah.
yeah, I definitely understand. That's why I was like getting emotional for you because like I know for me when I started counseling when I was younger, it really like helped me a lot. Like if it was not for my first counselor, her name was Jamie, like I do not know where I'd be today. Like cuz like it's just like everybody just had like an opinion about me, and then to just have someone who's like not opinion based but literally just telling me like the ways that I can benefit myself and that they believe in me, and like I don't know, just having that one person to talk to that you can literally say anything to and they're literally not judging you. It's like amazing because it's so rare to find that like these days. Even people that say they don't judge you, they're judging you just a little bit, depending on what you're doing. And sometimes people genuinely don't understand no matter how many times they say they do. So to have someone who's spoken to multiple people and seen many things over the course of their life and just study these things also helps. So definitely get that. But does that count as why we wanted to talk about for mental health?
Yeah, that's pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. I just wanted to add on to mine also just a bit, just like
Yeah.
I also just want to talk about it because we're going to get into this later on, just like seeing how mental health is perceived within the Black and Latinx communities, especially me growing up in Latin household and just growing up in, I used to transfer a lot into different schools growing up. So experiencing what I experienced in different schools, also seeing other people, it also like affected me. And I don't know if you guys are new, you haven't heard our suicide episode, but that's where mental health has played an effect in my life to the point where I literally was like ready to just like end it. And it's just that's why it's so important for me, and that's why I like go so hard for those things too, because I also know that's why I want to be a teacher. One of the many reasons, because like sometimes students don't have that support at home, and sometimes if they don't have it with their friends, sometimes they find it with the teacher they connect with, because I definitely know I've connected with my fair share of teachers as well.
Mhm.
And it helps a lot. So
Yeah, teachers definitely play a big role in students' lives.
yeah.
A lot of kids like don't get attention, love and attention at home, and just saying good morning to each student some brighten up their day. In
Yeah.
my class, I say good morning to each student
Yeah.
morning and say their name every single day. And they don't tell me, but I know they like it.
Yeah, even the morning students that don't like the morning, I think I'm gonna be that kind of teacher that's like, okay, for my morning students, if you guys do what you gotta do, you guys can get 5 minutes of nap time before class ends. Because I know the struggle. I want a nap too. Let's go take a nap together. And that's it. Keep it pushing. But all right. So, the origins of Mental Health Awareness Month. So, Mental Health Awareness Month is recognized every year to raise awareness and educate the public about mental illness through media, local events, and screenings. Mental Health Awareness Month was started in 1949 by Mental Health America, a nonprofit organization, and each year the organization chooses a theme. So, the theme for 2021 is Tools to Thrive, which provides free resources that everyone can use to improve their well being regardless of their personal situations. And you can access the Tools to Thrive toolkit on mhannational.org, and we will also be linking it in our resources link on our website. So go check that out.
Yeah, and now going on to the statistics, mental illness is more common than you think. And just here are some statistics that show how prevalent mental illness is.
Mm-hmm.
20.6% of the US adults experienced mental illness in 2019, and that's 51.5 million people. And that represents 1 in 5 adults. 5.2% of the US adults experienced serious mental illness in 2019. That is 13.1 million people. Then that represents 1 in 20 adults. 16.5% of the US youth aged 6 years old up to 17 experienced a mental health disorder in 2016, and that is 7.7 million people. And lastly, 3.8 of the US adults experience a co-occurring substance abuse disorder and mental illness. So that means they have a substance abuse disorder and like another disorder, like either
Oh God.
depression, anxiety, schizophrenia, like along with that. And that's 9.5 million people. And also like the most common mental disorder in the US is our anxiety disorders and major depressive disorder. That's very, very common.
Yeah, the most common.
Hmm.
So then following this, we have what we want to discuss, which has to do with the mental health stigma. So why did you want to talk about the mental health stigma?
Um, yeah, so why do I think that it exists? Definitely lack of education, people not educated on what mental health is and like what to do to like seek help. And definitely like not knowing something about any subject leads to like naturally thinking negative about it. I think that with like all different topics, if people are not educated, they automatically think negative about it. Um, And also like the way it's stereotyped, especially like in the media and like movies and shows, when they kind of like stereotypically show people like that have a mental health disorder. And people, some people can like look normal and they can have a mental health disorder. You can, it's not something that you see, but like sometimes in like movies and shows they kind of like overdo it and tip. And normally that's not how it looks like on a everyday basis, like on everyday people.
Yeah.
um and yeah, and also like definitely culture, which we're going to get into, plays a part. um Cultural beliefs and like religion too plays a part of how um mental illness is like viewed, and like how they not talk about it and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, and like mental health stigma like leads people to not seeking help because they don't know about it. They don't know like what's going on with them. They don't know the label of it, so they're not gonna know to seek help.
Yeah. 100% I agree, because at least for me, why I wanted to talk about it, like, and why I think it's important to like discuss why it even exists, is because me too, like, even just to say, like, I feel like the definition when it comes to mental health is so misused in certain areas. Like, um I feel like it's become a thing on social media where people take advantage of the things like anxiety and depression, and even if their life is just getting just really hard out of nowhere, then they start claiming it's anxiety and depression, and then it affects those people that actually do have and deal with that illness, and it affects them because it's like, do you really? And then it's perceiving like all this stuff about it on the media. And then also, like, not saying it's related, but it is in the same way. Like Ted Bundy, he was a serial killer, and something like that, where a serial killer is made to be seen as just, oh, he's so handsome, he could never do something like that. It's something similar like that when it comes to mental illness, because people are looking at these people and are like, either they don't think that they have it, or they are looking at them and they don't want them around because they do have it. And it's just like, like, why? So that's why I also wanted to really discuss it.
Yeah, so going to like the actual definition of what is mental health stigma, it's when society or oneself places shame on people who have a mental health disorder, or people when they seek counseling for their emotional distress.
Hmm. So, what is the difference between public stigma and self stigma? Public stigma is the reaction that the general population has to people with mental illness, and self stigma is the prejudice which people with mental illness turn against themselves. Both public and self stigma may be understood in terms of three components, which has to do with stereotypes, prejudice, and discrimination.
Yeah, so public stigma, so with stereotype, that's having a negative belief about a group. And in this case, the group is individuals with a mental health disorder.
Hmm.
So, an example, thinking people that have a mental illness are quote unquote crazy, which
Yeah.
is that's seen a lot. Prejudice is agreeing with that negative belief and having a negative emotional reaction. So you see, makes let's say you see somebody on the street, you perceive that they have a mental disorder, you kind of like scared of them, and like scared of them, or like you certain emotions come up. Then
Yeah.
discrimination is having a behavioral response to prejudice. So going on to continue with the example is like moving away from that person or not talking to them. And yeah, also withholding employment and housing opportunities, even though it's against the law to like not hire somebody if
People do
they
it all the time.
that people do all the time, is people with mental health disorders, people with disabilities, people that are in the minority, racial minorities, they get away with it. There's loopholes in the system, like always.
Yeah. And a lot of them try to get away with it by saying like, "Oh, they just weren't fit for the job." Like there was someone more more competent, is that the right word to use, for the job instead of them, basically.
Yeah.
The self-stigma, first being the stereotype, which is having a negative belief about the self, so thinking you are weak or incompetent. Then this helps with prejudice, agreeing with the negative belief, which can lead to low self-esteem. And then discrimination, having a behavioral response to prejudice, which means failure to pursue work opportunities. Honestly, this is where my anxiety and I I don't really want to say depression, because like I feel like my depression when it was like that, also, like, that's why I feel like there's levels to it all, and that's why it's hard to say who actually does have it and who doesn't, because some people have it more extreme than others. But that's something that's really hard for me, and especially during school, my anxiety gets so, like, I just get so overwhelmed that it's like once all my energy is gone, that's it. Like, I can't, it's so hard for me to build back up that energy, to keep myself motivated. And I just, like, everything around me, like, literally just crumbles, and is like, and this is a consistent thing. This is something I'm still trying to work on to this day. It's just,
Mhm.
it's slowly, progressively getting better in a way, because it was worse when I was younger. Now it's slowly getting better. But like, let's just say this last semester, that's when it was hitting, because I had to take a break and went upstate. I was like, isn't teaching really worth it? Like, what do I plan on doing with my life? I literally was at the point where it's like, is all this stuff even worth it?
Mhm.
I'm here thinking um like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just one of those things where you're telling yourself every single day what you have to do, that you're self-aware of the things that you have to do to achieve what you want to do for yourself, yet you just have a negative thought right after that thought that tells you, no, you can't do it, no, you're ugly, no, you're never gonna make it, oh, do you not know yourself, like, you can never do that. And it's so hard to literally push past that, especially when you don't even have the energy or the motivation anymore to do anything. And on top of that, you literally have to try your best to not even stay sulking in bed. So that's where I understand that, because I've been through that, and it was really bad, like, in the summertime. But I'm better, guys. Don't worry. Ariana's my therapist, but free of charge.
Yeah, I'm proud to see where Tati is now, and now she's done with the semester. She will be taking more classes, but will be an easier load on her.
Mm-hmm. That whole thing with the FAFSA was unreal. Don't get me started.
I know, like, school definitely affects a lot of students' mental health. I know for me, I have a mental breakdown at least once throughout the semester where I'm just like crying because
No,
I can't. And
literally.
it happened since I started college back in 2015. So
Mm-hmm.
it
I
was
have at
happening.
least a good breakdown also every semester, I'm not gonna lie. And I remember back in elementary school, there was this song we used to sing in music, literally saying it's okay to cry. It would be like, it's okay to cry. It might make you feel better. And it always sticks to me, because like growing up, I realized sometimes it really isn't bad to cry. Sometimes things just hurt so much that, like, why even hold it in anymore? Just let
Mhm.
it out.
Yeah.
And that involves even anger, stress, um, whatever the reason, your favorite TV show, just cry, just let it out.
Mhm. Yeah.
But continuing, so because of the stigma, what kind of misconceptions does this lead to? So according to the NCBI, which is where we've been getting most of our information from for this episode, it leads to 3 misconceptions. What are the misconceptions, Adi?
Fear and exclusions, which that they should be feared and shouldn't be allowed in certain communities. Authoritarian, which that those with mental illness are incapable of making choices for themselves and therefore need someone to help them and make decisions for them. People with that have a mental health disorder are able to live independently.
Mm-hmm.
They don't always have to be dependent. It depends like what it is. Some disorders are different than others and
Yeah.
severe than others, but most people can live independently and can function and do what they have to do to you know live.
Yeah.
And benevolence argues that they are childlike and need to be cared for. Yeah, so thinking people that have a mental disorder are incapable to do things and just treating them like a child or like talking to them as a child. Nobody likes that.
Yeah, that's
Nobody likes to be talked like if they were a child.
as if they don't know what they're doing. Because sometimes, like I said, sometimes you know what you're doing. There's just nothing you can do about it sometimes, or just the fact that you're trying. Um, you just sometimes you actually just need some help, but
Mhm.
you don't need to be talking to me like I'm a kid and don't know like what I'm doing. Like that's I know I need help, but don't help me in that way because that's not
Yeah.
helping.
Hmm.
So then, following this, we wanted to get into the perspective in the Latinx and Black community when it comes to mental health, which I think is very important, especially like with us. So, you want to say our opinions first, or get into
So
those?
these like things are like my opinions that I just help me to like remember.
Yeah, go ahead.
But so first I would like to say I'm happy to like live in a home where my parents and my brother like they take mental health seriously. I would say we don't talk about feelings all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna front
Sorry at the dinner table.
like we don't really talk about much like feelings, but my family, I'm not gonna say specifically who, but specifically have gone through like certain things, and like they were very my parents were very open to it, and they were understandable. They did their own research. They got the proper help and all that, and I'm very happy to live in a home in that type of environment, and also being them supportive of the field that I want to go to.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I have a few things that I've listed here that I've heard people tell me, or like from my experience as from doing this internship of what like people with Latinx or a black background. So first is I've heard from the students that I worked with this
You
past
asked them?
semester. What happened?
You asked them, or you just saying based off what
Oh,
you heard from them?
um, so like I did a lot of class presentations on top of like providing like individual counseling.
Mm-hmm.
And like we always like me and another intern, we always asked like if you guys want to meet one on one, like we're here for your support. And there was a couple students that said like, oh, I would love to like meet with you one on one, but my parents would not let me. And it was just, my heart broke because they were so brave to say that first of all, in the entire class that they want counseling. So that's very brave for especially for teenagers in high school where high schoolers are. They're very like they can be like stuck up and they want to impress their peers and
Like, I
stuff.
don't need help. Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Maybe you need help.
But then they say like my parents won't sign the paper because they're minors. They have to have the parents sign the paper to get the counseling. And just hearing that like broke my heart. And the high school that I was interning at was mostly like black and brown students, and also family not acknowledging how like their child feels. um their child says I feel depressed, and then the parents like, no you don't, because they don't think that exists or whatever the case may be. That's definitely I've heard directly people say that to me. Believe that counseling is only for crazy people. No, it's not. You don't have to have a mental health disorder to seek counseling.
A
um,
100%. I agree with that.
and I'm actually going to disclose a bit. Like I myself looking for a therapist in my life, just after helping the students I worked with. I realized that I have my own stuff that I need to like get through, and being that I'm going to be in this field for a while now, like I need that outlet to speak what I'm going through as a counselor and as an individual that goes through like regular life things.
Yeah, of
But
course.
it's not an easy process to look for a therapist, but maybe I'll get into that later.
How to
um
find a therapist? Call 1-800
when
Ariana.
it also like it's a lot of like Latinx people are like come from like Christian Catholic background.
Oh my God. Don't get me started.
They I'm not okay. I'm generalizing here, but they'd be
Yes.
like, "Oh, like pray it out. It's the devil inside you." Like, nah, like clear, like mental. Like when it comes to like somebody having a mental health disorder, like it's in the brain. Like chemicals are involved.
Yeah.
So like it's not something that like goes inside magically.
Yeah.
Like chemicals are involved is the way how people adapt to their environment and stuff. So it has nothing to do with spirits and the devil and all that.
Yeah,
That
dude.
shit don't work. You could pray all you want. You could use your faith to like guide towards healing, but
Mhm.
you got to put in the work.
Yeah, and me being a Christian too, I definitely understand that too because I was at a Christian church and it's like a single site of depression or anxiety, they were on it. They were like, "Okay, we're praying for you. We're going to send you to a prayer meeting. God will help you." I'm like, "Okay." Me being Christian, yes, love God. He will help me through my trials and tribulations. But like you guys say, oh, God has made you beautifully and wonderfully made. So, unfortunately, God made me this way with these chemical imbalances in my brain. And honestly, it's not a bad thing. It's just something you have to live through. And um, I think it's just one of those obstacles in your life that you need to learn how to go through and like maneuver with it in a way, because it's a part of you and it's just like how you handle it basically.
Hmm.
That's how I
Yeah,
see
yeah, definitely. So yeah, once you somebody says that to a person, like pray it out or just whatever, like you're not acknowledging how that person feels. So it's not helpful at
it. It's
all.
like the belittling coming out of
Yeah. Also, you know, parents, Latinx Black parents thinking, again, I'm generalizing. I'm not, you
it. Yeah,
know, saying that their child is using their mental illness as an excuse to be lazy. Like the people, like there's some days that people they cannot get out of bed, and it's not because they want to, it's because they can't. Like they literally feel like they cannot get out of bed, and they see that, oh, you're being lazy, you just don't want to go to school, this and that, you don't want to go to work, this and that, but like mentally they can just not get out of
yo,
bed. And like Tati said before, like she has the goal in her head to like she got to do this, she wants to do this, but mentally she can't in that moment. And many people struggle with that. And it's
this is
important
this
for
week's promo. This is this week's promo, y'all.
and it's important for like families to understand that and be supportive of the child or whoever they're raising and stuff. Like there's gonna be days that it's gonna be like that.
Yeah. Girl, guys, I'm adding on along with Ariana while she says her points, but 100% the amount of times I've heard, "Oh, I'm lazy," like, "Oh, you never do nothing." Growing up, knowing I'm literally crying the night before, having like outer body experiences because like I'm crying that hard and I'm just like it's just one of those things with anxiety and depression, I guess. And at least that I've experienced for myself personally. Like when I was younger, guys, like the amount of times I would hear from not outing my mom. My mom is more understanding about it now because it took me so long to really come clean about it. I was like, listen, like once I got older, I think I was maybe 18 when I started opening up to her about it. I was like, listen, like I have anxiety. I have depression. Like when you see me in bed rolling around and the covers over my head, it's not me being lazy and because I went to bed super late. No, it's because like I literally cannot get out of bed. Like I just am not motivated for anything. I would only eat one meal a day, if that, have snacks here and there. I couldn't even eat. That's how bad it would
Mm,
be. And sometimes things weren't even going on in my life. Something my life could be perfectly fine. And that's where I'm talking about with the belittling things. Sometimes people, family hurts also when it's your family because it's like they're supposed to be your blood and you would think that they would understand and sometimes they really don't, and so that's when the belittling comes. They're like, oh, like everything's going well in your life, like why are you crying? Or when people are like, oh, you think that's bad, you crying the whole night the other night for no reason at all. Steve just left me. Okay. I wasn't trying to make it a competition. I was just trying to talk to you
mhm,
about my feelings. And even though I can't explain it in the best way, I'm hoping that you still understand what I'm trying to say in a little bit. So it's
mhm,
just one of those things that I personally found as like one of my biggest pet peeves growing up within a Hispanic household. Um, underneath everybody telling me to that God's gonna take the devil away from me. Like I think I know the difference between the devil and my brain, you know?
yeah.
So,
Um, And my other point that I wanted to make is, talking about how, you know, how people from Latinx backgrounds, from Black backgrounds, how they view mental illness and all that. It's also important to understand how access to mental health services can be very limiting to like the BIPOC community.
Mhm.
Um, so like when it comes to insurance, not everybody has health insurance. The cost, like I've been doing my research when I've been having time to look for therapists, and some sessions can be costing up to like 300 per session. I'm like, that is not in my budget.
Things are very limited.
And yeah, and like I'm under my mom's insurance, but soon because of my age I'm gonna get cut off, and I have to figure that out. um so, and yeah, and also like there's not many clients of color. There's some people that prefer a client of color. I know for me, I'm looking for a therapist that is of color, because that's what I prefer. And there's other people of color that prefer that too, and there's not that many of us, and that's why I'm getting into this field, because sometimes seeing somebody that in this position and like that looks like you can be very
Comforting.
inspiring
Yeah. That,
and stuff, because most counselors are white. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get that. And that's why I said that when we did our suicide episode. And I believe we also did two other episodes, not involving suicide, but something else. I don't remember. But I definitely remember saying that honestly, therapy is really not that bad. I think therapy is like a blessing on earth to have access to that, especially that's why I say in school, try and talk to your counselor, because most likely your counselor's not doing anything in any day. First of all, it's a perk because you get to skip a class. Think about that. Two, it's someone to actually talk about your feelings and your frustration to that sometimes your teachers honestly don't care about, which sucks. And that's why I want to be a teacher, because I've come across teachers that have been 10 out of 10, and then teachers that have literally been like complete assholes and are the reason why I hate the school. But sometimes it really doesn't hurt because the counselors I went to were all in high school. They were my school counselors. My from I started going to counseling when I was a freshman, and that was unwillingly, because that's when my family had seen that I was in the dark every single day. There was a week when I was literally in the dark in my room for 7 days straight. Didn't leave besides to maybe eat or I didn't even shower that week. Not gonna lie, guys. I'm not trying to sound dirty, but that's just like a thing. I did
Mhm.
not shower that entire week. That's the longest I've gone without showering to this day. And a lot was going on in my family, and it involved me. And I remember my aunt calling my school, like, oh, yeah, she's depressed. She needs counseling. And it was like a problem also that she even did that, because everybody was like, she's not depressed. Like, why would she be depressed? There's nothing for her to be depressed about. And even my mom was really upset about that, because she was like, she doesn't need counseling. And then I went and I was upset too, because one day I just got called out of class and I went to the counselor, and after that first session, I really wasn't talking to her that much. But then I started to realize that she actually was listening to me and was actually someone I could genuinely talk to. I was like, wow, I like you. Thanks, Jamie. And I still talk to Jamie every now and then too. Because
You
like
still
I
a
have her
counselor?
number. Huh?
You still a counselor?
I think at the school that she works at, I don't know. I think she's not working right now because she just had a baby like a year ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm trying to
Yes.
see her soon actually, to hang out and see her baby. He's so cute. Because she was also the school I went to from 8th grade to 9th grade, guys, by the way, was a Christian school. So, a lot of the advice she gave me didn't even have to do with Christianity either, and that's why I appreciated it. It was actual counseling. But then outside of schools, she would also give me like actual like Christian related advice as well, which also helped me. But then after that, sophomore year, went to a different school counselor because I transferred schools. She was nice, but I think I only went to her office maybe one time. But that year in general was like the best year of my life. Like I didn't have that much stress. Like I think that was literally the happiest year of my life thus far. Like
Hmm.
I didn't have a lot going on to that extent that I need to go to the therapist. But I think that's what led to a lot of build up emotions towards my junior and senior year, because even though a lot wasn't going on, I still was withholding a lot of my emotions. So then when I transferred again junior year and I stayed at my school for junior, senior year, I met my guidance counselor. 10 out of 10, Miss Reiner. I love her. I still need to email her. She's like, you better email me so we could go out for lunch once you graduate. And I have never done it. I've never done it. And I have cried in her office. We have cried together. I remember one time in art, I made like a little fox and I was like, look what I made in school today. Do you want it? And she was like, yeah, I'll take it. And she had it at her desk like the whole 2 years of me knowing her. And she's always been like the
Wow.
sweetest person, always gave me like great advice, like literally someone that I could even talk to about like guy stuff, which
Yeah.
you wouldn't even think you would talk to your school counselor about.
Mhm.
But she was like, yeah, like totally.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to describe it, but she was really like my go-to. I'd be like stopping by her class between lunch periods. I'm like, yo, let me put you on real quick. She's like, put me on. And that's it. But it definitely helps to seek counseling if you're in school or even outside of school if you guys aren't in school.
Yeah,
Um,
they have free counseling in like colleges, so
yeah, I have to check out mine still because the advisors that I get, they're not it.
yeah, to go to like the counseling.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. That's my tip for college students. Don't go to your advisors about your problems. Go to the actual counseling center in your school because your advisors are simply there for your school scheduling to make sure you're getting your grades on top, and that's it. Tell them anything else. They're like, okay, so you have an F. I was crying last night. Like I said, you have an F. Fix it.
Yeah, they have those advisors, they have no emotion.
None. I remember like this semester, that's when I was going through it a bit and I was having my breakdown. I just gave up completely on school. And I had a U grade on one of my classes. And I had seen the notice on my computer. I was like, okay, I'm going to try and fix it. And I was trying as much as I could. And 3 weeks later, after that notice came from my school, it wasn't from an advisor or anything. It was just like the computer thing, the robots. My advisor calls me. She was like, hello, Tatiana. I was like, yes. And she had said, oh, just calling you to let you know that you have a U grade in one of your classes. And I was just like, yeah, I know. And then she was like, okay, just letting you know that maybe you should seek some tutoring because you need to get on that. And I was like, I know. And then but like I don't even remember, she was just so rude about it. At the same time, like, you have a U grade, like get on top of it. I'm like, I'm trying. um and when she told me if I need any help, I thought maybe she was talking about counseling,
Yeah, that's what
saying
I
if
was
I had
thinking at
those
first.
resources, but she was like, no, tutoring. And I was like, oh, okay. For all you know, it's not tutoring that I need, it's a mental health
Yeah,
thing.
these advisors, they need to get with the program. Though they need some kind of workshop or something like.
Literally. But all right. That's what I see a lot, and I agree with a lot of the other points that you had made, and I also feel like I think you guys got it from a few of my stories, just like sometimes students or people in these communities feel like they can't seek that kind of counseling or help when it comes to mental illness because their families try to belittle their problems or feelings, try to say that, oh, they don't need it, like you're perfectly fine, this is normal. And then eventually as you get older, you start to realize like you have all this trauma. And it's
Hmm.
like, this is something I've been seeing a lot recently, especially on my social media, which I'm kind of surprised about, is a lot of people are coming about their childhood traumas and why they react and act a certain way now as adults. And it's because their parents treated them the same way that their parents treated them, and it's kind of becoming a recycled thing,
Hmm.
which continues throughout generations, which becomes normalized, and it shouldn't be normalized.
Yeah.
And whether it has to do with your mental health or doesn't, and it's not okay, which I
Hmm.
really want to do another episode on, but
Yeah.
later
Yeah,
on.
I try to break the cycle, especially when it comes to like gender roles in my house, which is another big thing in the Latinx community.
Yeah.
I talk my shit in this house.
Period. Yeah, what's called, my mom be telling me, you don't know how to cook, you don't know how to clean. That's why she's like, you're so lazy, you don't do nothing. And I'm like, I don't need to do nothing. And look, the guy I'm with right now freaking cooks, he cleans, and he's gonna let me name our future baby with my last name. That's breaking gender role within the generations of this family, period.
Damn.
That. No, seriously though, because when I really think about it, I'm like, damn, like I really don't have to do nothing. Like I just honestly have to work because I want to work. Like I'm Miss Independent and they acknowledge that. And I think that's like so amazing to like find somebody that's like, oh yeah, you don't cook. That's not a problem. You don't need to cook. And you know, I feel like there are a lot of couples that are like that, but like we said, it's really normalized with the gender roles.
Yeah.
So it's just cool. And then, wow, wait.
Yeah, so that concludes us talking about how mental illness can be viewed in the Latinx and Black community, and now how to combat this mental health stigma. So there's 3 approaches according to this article that we read. That's an actual journal article. 3 approaches to help reduce mental health stigma. First is protest. Research has shown that instructing individuals to ignore or suppress negative thoughts and attitudes towards a particular group can have a paradoxical rebound effects. Stigma will be augmented rather than reduced. Education. There's evidence that individuals who possess more information about mental illness are less stigmatizing the individuals who are misinformed about mental illness. And this goes back what I said in the very beginning of the episode. In other words, providing people with factual information helps reduce the stigma. Contact. Don't be afraid to contact about your stories and get help if needed before it's too late. They also help create statistics to help in the education category later on. Like I wouldn't be surprised if somebody hearing your story, Tati, will get touched and inspired by your story. So you're very vulnerable to like share this online about your story.
Girl, because thank you, because growing up, like I really like from holding all that stuff in, I realized like it really does not help you whatsoever. And honestly, talking about it, 1, helps yourself, and 2, it's like a reflection because now you're literally looking back at your past and you're seeing like the steps you've taken to better yourself. And that's why I don't mind telling my stories. And this is not even all of it, you know, because I started feeling like this when I was maybe 14 years old. All these things that I go through, and it was really hard then. And that's when I started my counseling, I started figuring out ways to better myself. To this day, so I have a diary, guys. For me personally, writing my diary was the best way for me to let out my emotions so they weren't always building up. And that's why when I said my sophomore year, when I built up all those emotions until my senior year, I did not write in my diary that entire year. Didn't do my counseling, didn't write in my diary. I was just going through life, getting bang, 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 hit left and right, going through my things, crying all the time. And that was it. And that's why now I have 3 diaries. I have volume 1 from 2015, 2014 to like 2018. And then from 2018 to 2020 was my 2nd volume. And then now on my 3rd volume with the end of 2020 to now 2021. And it's like all my life, like details left and right of what I've gone through, the nights I was crying, the nights my mom would take my phone away, catching me up late at night. And I'm like, my mom just took my phone away. I'm going to cry myself to sleep tonight. Like stuff like that, you know? And it's just like, my plan for my diaries is to actually give them to my kids when they're older, so they can see that whatever they're going through, if they feel like for whatever reason they can't tell me no matter what I say, they can actually see like and get an idea of the stuff that I went through and why I'm the way I am. And that maybe because I am the way I am, it helps them see other people differently also. So makes them more open-minded.
That's powerful right there. Sheesh. Wow.
But yeah, guys, that basically concludes episode 37. Cannot believe we only have 3 episodes left until the end of season 2. Crazy. Like these last 20 weeks, a lot has happened in 20 weeks.
I don't know. They went like that.
Really. I'm definitely gonna cry on episode 40.
Stop that. If you cry, you're gonna make me cry.
Oh, didn't we tear up a bit at the end of season 1? I think so.
I don't remember.
That's when we spoke to Dayanara.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It was after she left. I was like, so it's ending. But now, literally, like, I am gonna get so emotional. I have my speech ready. I already know what I'm gonna say. Ariana's gonna be like, stop. Don't do that, Tati. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys are ready. We definitely are going in it with these next 3 episodes. And I feel like there's so much that's been happening right now that it's like, it sucks that we only are doing 40 episodes because we have so much we want to do. We want to do the mass media. We want to do Palestine, which we're going to get into later. We want to do the gender roles. We want to do LGBTQ plus, like, so much. And we only have 3 episodes.
Yeah, it's gonna
have to wait.
But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode and were able to learn from it. Pass this on to somebody so they can gain some insight about mental health and yeah. And if you're listening, you're going through it. Like, I believe in you. You're strong, and just take each day by day, and you got this. And if you're living in an environment where you think you're not being supported, just
we're there with you in spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, literally, just I know how badly that like hurts to feel like being in an environment where you're not supported by anyone in that household or outside the household, and it sucks. But honestly, try to think about your future and think about how close you are to achieving what you want to achieve. And even though it can be extremely hard and you're gonna have your doubts here and there, you're gonna get through it 100%. I promise you. Because if not, the only person you're gonna let down is yourself. So if you want to make yourself happy, just try and keep pushing.
Also, we do have a post on our Instagram where there you can check out some resources if you just really need guidance or support, or know somebody that you love that needs that support.
That was so cute, Ariana, that post. I was like, oh, this is so cute. I saw the corner the way we see. I was like, Ariana.
Yeah. I was bored during my internship yesterday.
On her last day, that's what she was doing. She made a post for mental health awareness. Typical Adi. All right, into this week's current events. So New York City's offering incentives to get vaccinated. I was at work today on my 30, dealing with my little Karens, my Barbas, my Mariannes, whatever. And I go to Taco Perfectos, which is around the corner from my job, getting my taco. And I'm watching the news because me and Adi were talking about our current events, what we were going to do.
Yeah.
And we weren't really going to talk about this. But then I saw in the news these things and Cuomo acting so devastated on the news. Spectrum One News. That's what I was watching it on. And he was just like, got some very devastating news this morning, acting like it was an accident. But the amount of people getting vaccines is going down. Within the last week, people coming in for vaccination has gone down to 48%. And I was like, pause, that's a big number. But I'm like, what do you expect? Like, people...
Yeah, wouldn't it go down?
Yeah, it went down.
But like, I'm trying to think, like, wouldn't it go down now that like the vaccine's been out for a good minute now? So obviously it would go down, right?
No, I think it's because based off our population,
okay,
them expecting like more New Yorkers to still be coming in. Like they're looking at the population, seeing how many New Yorkers there are here, and then how many of them are getting the vaccine. And it's so crazy, guys, so crazy, because now at my job, I don't know if I said this on the last episode or not, but they came out with a notice. Oh, I definitely didn't, because we did our episode before, right when the news came out that if you were vaccinated, you could officially go out in public without the mask on. Like,
yes,
completely. And so my job came out with a notice, the company, and they left it in the break room. Our managers told us, they were like, listen, it's mandated for people to come into the store with a mask, but if they don't say anything. We're not offering any more masks. It's up to them, because we don't know at the end of the day if they are vaccinated or not. So, and safety of our employees, just don't say anything.
Wait, so question. So they're letting customers walk in the store with no mask and providing services?
Yeah.
With no mask?
Yeah.
Ideal.
That's what I'm saying. And that's something that I heard on the news today. It's like sort of behavior, rewarding bad behavior. in a way, because not only are you sacrificing yourself, because people think that have the vaccine think that they're immune to everything all of a sudden, you're risking the lives of other people that are in the store. And a lot of people that do come to the store are over 40, 30 years old. So, they are vulnerable to it. So, I'm bringing out customers today, and these two ladies, they're like, "Oh, are masks mandated in the store because we're vaccinated?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's mandated in the store, but if you don't have it on, I can't say anything." And she's like, "Oh, great." Takes off her mask.
Yeah.
And I was just like, thank God for the plastic, but still just like,
Yeah.
goodbye, like trying to get them out. Then later on, had 3 customers in a row, no mask on. I was just like, and my coworker, she was like, it's so weird to see people without their mask on. And like we can't even say anything about it, because I was getting used to also be like, excuse me, miss, like you need to put your mask on, like I can't help you until you have your mask on. I even had a kid a few weeks ago, he's like, excuse me, do you have a mask I can use? I was like, yeah, here you go. Now all of a sudden, no mask. I had like the 3 adults, one of the 3 adults that I had in a row, one of them had like 4 kids, none of them had a mask on. I was like, so all you guys are vaccinated.
Yeah,
And
kids
that's
don't
if they're vaccinated.
Yeah, if you're under 16, there's no vaccine. But yeah, like I could definitely see people lying
Yeah.
because like there's no one's actually gonna check.
Especially in New York. Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for checking, and nobody's gonna check if you have the vaccine or not. So
Yeah. But oh my God, I actually had a moment today. I went to get sushi with my aunt before the podcast. I went into a Japanese restaurant with no mask.
oh, you
I
forgot
felt
it?
so Republican. I felt like a Republican. I felt like a person that does not believe in the virus. And so I walk in, the worker is right there at the door. He sees me, he instantly walks behind the desk with the plastic thing. And I was just like, hi, yeah, I'm here for pickup under whoever. He's like, okay. He goes, and then I went to scratch my face and I realized I didn't have a mask on. I was like, and people were looking at me. I was like, I was like, people can see.
Yeah, it happens.
But it was one of those moments too, because I'm like here talking to myself and I don't even have a mask to cover my mouth from talking to myself. And he comes back. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm literally bowing at him. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I didn't have my mask on. I literally forgot. Like, I'm so sorry. He's like, it's okay. It's okay. I was like, no, I'm sorry. I don't want you to think I don't care. And he was like, it's okay. It's okay. I was like, thank you. Have a nice night. He was like, you too. And he was like laughing at me. I was like, ay, Dios. So embarrassing. But anyways, going back to the current event, guys. So from May 21st to June 12th, Shake Shack all over the US will be serving a free order of fries to vaccinated customers with the purchase of any burger or chicken sandwich. Get vaxxed, get Shack.
That's the corny saying they got. And I
Yeah.
saw a video of like Mayor de Blasio like eating Shake Shack.
I wish I remembered the promo thing that they had for the lotto that I was telling you about earlier. It was like
Oh, I have that here,
you
but I don't
found
know
it?
what's the. I don't have the corny line, but I have the part that yeah.
Yeah, they were like, get vax, get something, like get money. I don't know.
Get cash,
Yeah,
get vax, get cash.
literally. So then yeah, and then in New York City, starting May 13th, vaccinated New Yorkers can receive a free burger when they get vaccinated at one of the New York City mobile vaccine buses. New York City also partnered with the New York State Department of Health to launch vaccine pop stops inside 8 train stations. If New Yorkers get vaccinated at any of these pop-ups, they will receive a free ride. And then in Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced the launch of a 1 million lottery for vaccinated residents of the state. And I actually have another thing. So I was on a date on Friday, right? Went to the Museum of Natural History. And you know what was in the museum? I was like, oh, let's go down to like the lower part. I want to see like the sea life exhibit where they have the big whale and then there's like this squid down there. It's so cool. And we walk in and the whole lower area of the sea life exhibit in the Museum of Natural History is closed off for people to get vaccinated.
In
So
the museum?
in the museum, in the museum. And then the big whale, they put a band-aid on him. They put a band-aid on the whale. I have a picture to
Oh
make
my
it look like he
god.
got vaccinated.
Oh, yeah, these they in the I was looking at the train stations that they have it in Penn Station. They have it in 125th in Harlem, which if you know about 125th, that area is I'm not gonna say if you know,
Yeah,
you know. I'm not gonna say too much.
yeah.
They have it in what else? Broadway Junction in Brooklyn.
Broadway
Yeah.
jump.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about getting vaccinated in a train station.
You go in the train station, see the rat run across.
Like I don't know how like safety is like what's it called?
The safety
Clean
for
is that?
yeah,
Because it be getting musty and hot like waiting for the train. Like I don't know how and I know like for the vaccines they have to keep it cold, but
disgusting.
whatever.
Nah, because really I was so excited to go down there to I was gonna show the person I was with the exhibit down there that they have in the area where they were giving the vaccines. I was like, yo, because he kept on touching like the freaking stuff in the museum. I was like, stop touching, you're gonna get caught. And he put his hand past one thing, the alarm went off. I was like, oh my god, the security was like, you're too close, man. He was like, my fault. But I was trying to show him. I was like, look, because the one time I went to go touch, um I realized that there wasn't a glass, and that's the dark squid one that they have at the very bottom underneath the whale. And I like almost fell forward into the exhibit part, and it so
Oh my
bad, so
goodness.
bad. I was like in elementary school. I'll never forget. And I wanted to show him, and I couldn't because literally they had just a whole barricade. Unless you had an appointment to get vaccinated, you were not going down there. So people that are waiting online to get vaccinated and everything are just seeing the exhibits down there as they go, but everybody else that it wasn't, they were at the top part and that's it.
They just using any building, any type of space.
Yeah.
They wildin' the Blasio and Como. They just using it. Oh,
And
let's
listen, if you're
let's go.
also vaccinated, you get free tickets to the Bronx Zoo, get half
Already free on
price
Wednesdays.
at a Nets game if you want to go at Barclay Center. Crazy.
The Bronx was already free on Wednesdays.
Tuesdays.
Oh, they changed it.
I don't know, but guys, if you're vaccinated, go outside. And then yeah, the next current event anyway. It's unreal.
Yeah, with these incentives are getting out of hand. I'm vaccinated and I haven't used any of these incentives. But going on to next current event, President Biden signs the Anti-Asian Hate Crime Bill into law on May 20th, which is the day that we're recording this. President Biden signed the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act into law. And reading the name of the actual law, I'm like, why is it named the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act into law? I mean, act.
Mhm.
But I don't know if there's like legal terms of like it has to be named that way or something, but I just found that odd that it was named that.
Mhm.
But whatever.
Yeah, it was
The purpose of this law is to
yeah, no, sorry. You're about to get into it, my bad. I didn't
uh the purpose of this law is to address the hate crimes throughout the pandemic, with particular emphasis on the increase of hate crimes against the Asian American and Pacific Islander community. And like I understand like the hate crimes were increased this
Yeah,
specific community
they
after the
said by
pandemic, but
660,000. 600.
of the increase.
Yeah, they said overall since the pandemic
Yeah.
started 6,600,000 people have reported crimes.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand why they named it the COVID-19 hate crime, like,
Mhm.
but anyway. This law will create a new position at the Justice Department to expedite review of potential COVID-19 related hate crimes and incidents reported at the federal, state, or local level. I'm just trying to think like, how like I don't think all like the hate crimes against the Asian American and Pacific Islander community are have to do with COVID related things. So that's
Mhm.
why I'm confused. Um, it will direct the Justice Department and Health and Human Services to work with community-based organizations to issue guidance, raising awareness of hate crimes during the pandemic, and stop AAPI hate, which is an organization that we spoke about 2 episodes ago for AAPI month.
Mm-hmm.
praised the legislation for investing in community-centered solutions and provisions to mitigate anti-Asian rhetoric, but said further legislation is needed to address the root causes of systemic racism and oppression. So it's a good step to the direction, although I'm still confused why is it called COVID-19 hate crime, but
Yeah.
if anybody has an explanation, DM us because I'm confused on that.
Yeah, because when I saw it, I was like, okay, COVID-19 Asian hate crimes is what it was first being called. Um, I understand that because a lot of people were calling it the China virus, thanks to you know who, whatever, whatever. Yes, I believe COVID-19 is a reason for a lot of the hate crimes that did happen within the pandemic, but I also feel like it also does not have to do with COVID-19 at the same time. Yeah, it may be mentioned here and there, but I think it's generally just hate crimes because of racism and all that
Yeah,
stuff. And you
not
know,
just
oh, sorry, what were you gonna
no,
say?
go forget it. I was just gonna repeat whatever.
I saw this thing where it was like, okay, so the the hate crimes towards Asian Americans, Pacific Islanders, they're like, oh, F you, go back to your country. Literally beating the shit out of them. Women, old men. So sad. I can't even like I have flashbacks of the videos that I had seen. It's so sad. But I actually saw this one thing with this guy in Singapore and he was like, I was just crossing the street, but little did I know in Singapore, drivers have to yield for pedestrians. And it was this an Asian man, and he stepped out his vehicle towards the guy he almost hit, and he was cursing him off, and he was like, "Get out of my country! Like, get out of my
Whoa.
country!" And I was just like, "Damn!" I was like,
Yeah,
"Damn!"
they're all the country that we build. Talk to me nice.
Yeah, but I was just like, "Damn!" Like, that's where it's like, put yourself in their shoes. You're telling them go back to your country, you go back to your country. You're the same people that are visiting their countries, and like literally, what's the term that I keep seeing get thrown around? Gentrified. Gentrified.
Colonizers.
She said colonizers. Yeah, that. But no, it's I've been seeing this thing saying gentrified. Like social media is gentrifying the Asian community with like anime, these Asian spots, and like this one girl I know, she was just like, I come to Asia Town. It's like not Asia Town. What am I talking about? Chinatown or K Town in the city, and it's just like mad whiteheads like in all these spots. It's like where are even the Asians?
Yeah.
And it'd be like that.
Mm-hmm.
So then, following into our last current event, guys, we will be dedicating an entire episode about the history about what's been going on between Israel and Palestine, as well as breaking down what has transpired in the last 11 days. In the meantime. In the meantime, here's the latest update about what's been going on. So on May 20th, which was also today, Israel and Hamas, is that how you pronounce it? Hamas?
Yeah.
Hamas? Okay. Reached a ceasefire, which means a temporary stoppage of a war in which each side agrees with the other to suspend aggressive actions. The Palestinian death toll in Gaza rose to 230, including at least 65 children, and the local health officials said as of Wednesday. So, yeah.
Yeah. It's we're in right now as we speak, we're investigating what's going on, and Tatiana and I, we're gonna take the time to educate ourselves.
Yeah. Because it's so
So we can break it
much.
down. It's so much. Yeah.
Because we were trying to get into it again today, but like after discussing it for the small current event before, it's like I still don't understand what was happening. I just knew that there was nukes going over there, which yes, sad. Not trying to downgrade it or anything, but it was just like confusing because I was like, what is going on? Like, what is the reason for that? Like, what's the reason for the war, and like why aren't they stopping? And turns out there's a whole lot of history towards that, and just how it's just crazy. And I have and it also has like stuff to do with like religion too. I had seen I think it's Ramadan. um I forget, but it's just like so much into it, so that's why we wanted to really break it down into one full episode for you guys, which is most likely going to be next week's episode.
Yeah. So take a look out for that.
Yeah. But alrighty, guys, that concludes this week's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And if you are listening on our podcast, we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Yes.